Welcome everyone to the Preschool Neuroscience Summit. Today I'm so excited to have John Assaraf with us. He is in California at the moment, but he is from Israel but grew up in Canada and has been a huge mentor of mine. You might know him from the movie The Secret, where he was a spiritual teacher. He's written numerous best-selling books, including The Answer and Having It All, and my favorite, Innercise, which I think we're going to talk about soon. So welcome, John, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be with you, Helen.
So tell us, how did you, because you've been involved in real estate and business coaching and the stuff I know you're still involved in, how did you get involved in neuroscience?
I was trying to fix myself. It's interesting. I got into neuroscience because I was fascinated with why some people were healthy, why some people were achieving success, other people weren't. Some people went to school and did great. Other people didn't get much of an education and were doing great. So I was fascinated with what causes somebody to achieve success in each area of their life. And, I define success as, whatever makes you happy and whatever makes you feel accomplished and purposeful. And so I got into the brain. I got into understanding what drives our behaviors, what causes us to be afraid to take action, what causes us to read something or watch something and say, oh my God, this is so motivating, and then not do anything with it. So I just got fascinated with goals and achieving goals and what's the structure of doing it properly, what's the nature of beliefs. And to take you one step before that, what really triggered it was at 22 years old, which is a long time ago. I had severe ulcerative colitis. So I had ulcers in my colon when I was 22 years old. And I was taking 25 silazapyrin pills a day, which is a sodium sulfate to reduce the inflammation. I was doing cortisone enemas twice a day. I was going to the hospital once a month for them to look inside my colon through an orifice that doesn't feel comfortable with too many people going in there, or anybody going in there. And then I got fascinated with what's causing my colitis. And so I looked at genetics and I looked at psychoneuroimmunology. I looked at a whole bunch of stuff. And once I realized that there was a body-mind connection, I started to visualize and meditate and use affirmations. And within 5 weeks after being sick for 2 years, all of my symptoms went away. And that was 38 years ago. Wow. And so I got fascinated with how my brain or my mind could control my body and vice versa. But that was the beginning of understanding the power that every one of us has, right between our own two ears, the most powerful biocomputer in the whole universe. We own one. Every one of us owns one, but we weren't given the user's manual for it. So I've been studying the user's manual for, many, many, many years, 38 years or so.
Yeah, it's amazing when you find that connection, I think, when you've been searching. So tell us, you're the CEO now of NeuroGym, focused on research of the brain and learning how to help people help themselves. So what are some of the most common things that we get stuck on, that we get into bad habits about, and why do we do that? Like when you said we were like, yes, I'm going to do this, and then we don't. Why is that?
So it's a loaded question, but let me maybe start off with saying, we all have a vision or goals of, what we'd like to do, be, have, feel, contribute. We all have this idea of what it would be like for us to have a really wonderful life, whether it's health or wealth or relationships or contribution, fun, experiences, travel, give more to charities. And then there's the disconnect between that vision and what we're actually doing and how we're living and what we give and what we have. And so the question is, what causes us not to have those goals when it's all readily available, when we know that there's an abundance of money, there's an abundance of knowledge and tools and skills and resource and technology? So what's the gap? And so for some people, there's four things that we really can point back to that is the gap. So let's say I have a goal. It doesn't make a difference what it is. Make more money, start a business, leave a relationship I'm not happy with, whatever it is. One thing that may hold us back is we don't have the knowledge or the skill that we need in order to achieve that goal. So when we don't have the knowledge or the skill, then we have doubt, we have uncertainty, which triggers our fear response that we might fail, we might be embarrassed, we might be judged, we might be criticized, we might feel ashamed. And so whenever we have those possibilities of those disempowered feelings or emotions or outcomes, our motivational part of our brain basically shuts off and we move into a safety zone of, well, let me just stay here stuck with what I have because it's safe here. And part of the way our brains work is the number one priority of our brain is survival above all else. So anything that might jeopardize our survival, we're like, oh my God, be careful of that, which is normal. But then the very next hierarchy of how our brain works is avoidance of pain or discomfort, whether it's real or imagined. So we have these automatic triggers in our brain that is always trying to predict the next thing, one step, two steps, three steps ahead of us. And it's trying to predict, is there any real or potential danger? So could I get hurt mentally, emotionally, physically, financially? And if the answer is there's a possibility, then we put the brakes on. So knowledge or skills or lack of knowledge or skills triggers that reaction in our brain. And so we stay comfortable instead of learning how to manage that. The number two thing we've discovered is, let's say you have a goal. And again, it doesn't matter what goal it is, but let's say you have a limiting belief about yourself or about that goal or what it requires. So let's say you have a goal of living a certain lifestyle, but you have a belief that, but I'm too young to live that lifestyle now, or I'm too old, or I live in the wrong city, or times are really bad right now, or I'm too Asian, or I'm too white, or too black, and so whatever the limiting belief is, which is nothing more than a pattern in our brain that's been reinforced, that's going to drive our behavior, whether we take action or not. So if we don't understand how to deactivate a limiting belief after we recognize that we have one, then we're going to be victims of our limiting beliefs. Now, here is the thing that's really interesting. All the knowledge and skill that we need right now to achieve every goal, we have. We have on Google, in books, through coaches, through consultants, through videos, through YouTube, all the how-tos there. Limiting beliefs is a little bit more interesting because you weren't born with any.
Yeah.
Right? You developed beliefs, whether they're constructive or destructive ones, but after they're developed, they become automatic and we behave in ways that match our beliefs. So that's number two biggest thing that gets in our way. So we have to recognize what limits us from a belief perspective, deactivate that pattern or neural circuit in our brain, and create and reinforce new ones. The third one is self-image. So I want a certain lifestyle. I want to have a business. I want to be a coach. I want to be happily married. But if in the deeper parts of our brain, our subconscious, our hidden self-image says, but you don't deserve that. You're not worthy of that. So we can have a conscious vision or goal, but if we have a subconscious disempowering self-image, then we're going to have one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. We're going to have the desire, but we won't follow through on the behavior because it's your hidden self-image that wins. And even if you do manage to fight that and work really hard to get it, then you'll sabotage it so that your hidden self-image wins. So that's number 3. And then number 4, and this is one that's totally manageable, is fear. Right? So it's fear. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, when we have a goal, our brain is thinking of the amazing feeling that it'll be to have that goal. We get excited and motivated. And that is what I call the Einstein part of the brain, right? The imagination that lives in that possibility in that future. But then there's another part of our brain that's actually an ally, a really good friend when we know how to use her or him. I call it the Frankenstein brain. And that's, this part of our brain says, okay, what if you do that and you fail? So your brain's predicting what happens when you succeed and getting you motivated, but it's also predicting what happens if you fail. Well, I might be embarrassed. I might be ashamed. I might be ridiculed. I might be judged. I might lose money. I might lose time. I might affect my self-worth or self-esteem. So our brain is processing all of this information. Just think about a biocomputer, right? A computer that's processing trillions of bits of information per second. And so it's saying, if you go after it, you're going to achieve this amazing feeling and result. But if you go after it and you fail, if you go after it and you disappoint yourself, and you go after it and you're embarrassed, ashamed, or ridiculed, there's pain there. And so here is the key. We as humans do more to avoid pain and discomfort than we do to gain pleasure. So it's the brakes first, then gas, versus the gas first and then brakes. And so when we talk about fear, fear is an emotion, and there's 6 core fears. And so if we don't understand that we have emotions, we have feelings, we have thoughts, but we are not our thoughts. We are not our feelings. We are not our emotions. We just have them. Now the question becomes, if I'm not my thoughts or feelings or emotions, and I have them, can I, as a human, can I learn to be aware of the constructive ones or destructive ones? Yes. Can I learn how to be aware of the empowering ones and disempowering ones? Yes. Can I learn to override the ones that don't serve me and to create and reinforce ones that do? And the answer is yes. That's a skill. Unfortunately, we don't teach that skill in kindergarten or grade school or high school or university or even thereafter. And so most of us adults, we have to go back and say, okay, let me go back to the kindergarten of emotions and saying, okay, what's causing my emotions? What's causing my feelings? What's causing these thoughts to percolate up that so many of them are negative or disempowering me? And that's the beginning, right? That's the beginning of, Innercise. I created in my book, Innercise, and all the Innercises as a way to show people that you can strengthen your mindset, and mental and emotional skills through innercising your brain. So exercise your body, innercise your brain.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of innercising. I think that is really what helped me get through my doctorate, which I got recently, and lots of other things. I do it every day. So tell us, for our listeners, what innercising is and how you came up with this and what it does.
So if we think about, I'm going to use our body and muscles and organs as an example. So back in the 1960s, Jack LaLanne, said, hey, if I do push-ups or I do jumping jacks, or if I run a little bit and I extend or expand my cardiovascular capacity through exercise, I'm making my muscles and organs and systems stronger. So let's take that analogy and say, let's talk about the brain. Let's talk, for example, on the word awareness. Is it possible that awareness is a neuro muscle? Is it possible that focus is a neuro muscle? Is it possible that our habits are neuro muscles? Habits that have been reinforced are strong, right? And whether they're good or bad, they make us do things. And so when we understand that our brain, operates on some hierarchy principles, and we understand we have, two parts to our nervous system. We have the sympathetic nervous system, which is our stress, fight, flight, high intensity, anxiety laden part of our system that we need in case there's danger. And then we have our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our ability to be calm so we can respond. If you're a Navy SEAL, a firefighter, a teacher, a husband, a wife, you need to know that you have access to both of these systems. And what if I shared with you that if you have some stress, anxiety, uncertainty, you're feeling a lack of confidence, that's usually going to trigger your sympathetic nervous system, and that's going to cause you to constrict and breathe in a shallow way. You're going to actually deactivate that imagination part of your brain, the left prefrontal cortex, what I call the Einstein part of your brain, the part of your brain that is your CEO, the executive director, the part of your brain that can actually help you think. And if you're in a sympathetic state, your Frankenstein brain is active and is coming up with why you can't, why you won't, why this might not be a good idea, how you might get in trouble, how you might not feel well. And this is running most people's lives. What if I share with you that with 6 simple breaths, Innercise number 1 I call is take 6, calm the circuits. What if every hour you just set 1 minute aside, just 1 minute aside to breathe in through your nose very, very, very slowly. And deeply. And then at the top of the breath, you just held it for 1 second or 2 seconds. And then you breathed out really slowly, like you're breathing out through a straw through your mouth. What if I shared with you that with 6 breaths, less than a minute, you could deactivate the stress, the fear, the anxiety, the uncertainty part of your brain, and you could reactivate the calm and respond thinking part of your brain that can help you be more aware of your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, your sensations, your behaviors, your actions, your results. And what if you went from Innercise number 1, where you are deliberately in this calm and responsive mode, versus this stressed out reactive mode? What if I shared with you that if you then did Innercise number 2, which is called Aya, A-I-A, we're in a calm mode. You just started to observe your thoughts, emotions, feelings, sensations, and behaviors. And if you did that every hour and you just were observing without judgment, blame, shame, guilt, or justification, just pure observation, the observation would allow you to be aware of the processes and the emotions that you're feeling as a result of automatic processes that's happening in your brain. And what if I said to you every hour, I want you to choose an intention, which is the I in Aya. And my intention is to be happy. My intention is to be focused. My intention is to be productive. And then I said, okay, great, what's one action, which is the second A in Aya. So awareness, intention, action. So one action right now is I can get up and smile, and I can move, and I could be grateful. Another action I could do is let's stay focused for 15 minutes on getting a project finished. Another action that I could take is I could take 50 minutes to create a plan for the rest of the day. Now, if I was in a calm, responsive state most of the day, if I was in an aware state where I set my intentions and I took inspired, constructive behaviors or actions every day, how much would I achieve in a day, in a week, in a month, in that state? Those are just 2 very, very simple, easy to do, easy to start, easy to reinforce patterns that when you do just those 2, Now you start building a core neuromuscle of awareness, a core neuromuscle of focus, a core neuromuscle of intention, a core neuromuscle and habit of productivity versus activity. Now I have a human being who is developing their brain and developing the habits that empower them to achieve their goals versus being in a reactive, habitual state of doing more of the same for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. So by recalibrating and understanding our brain, that we have a brain, we're not our brain, I can train my brain better. It's like upgrading the software on your computer. We upgrade the software on our cell phones, on our apps, on our computers. Why not ourselves? We've been conditioned for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. And then we are the creatures of habit, and the habits then keep reinforcing themselves. So Innercise allows us to be aware, to interrupt the pattern, to create new patterns that'll help us be more empowered versus less.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It really works in all different areas of your life. So John, tell us, why is it that sometimes we're, flying high and doing really well in one area of our life, but then in another area, maybe we're falling behind? And when we do these Innercises, does it kind of pull you up in all the other areas of your life that you might be kind of struggling with?
Yeah, so, there's a known fact in the neuroscience and neuropsychology world that, every good discipline reinforces other good disciplines, and every negative or disempowering, destructive discipline reinforces other ones. So when we start with deliberate evolution of ourselves, meaning I am going to start focusing on evolving myself so I have constructive keystone habits. Think about this. If you're going to build a home, you start off with a really good foundation, right? Whether it's stilts, whether it's concrete, whatever it is, you start off with a really good foundation. So if we have really good habits and foundational ways of being, whether it's foundational for planning, whether it's foundational for self-discipline, whether it's foundational for being more in control than less in control, whether it's foundational for learning how not to allow distractions to interrupt your day, whether it's foundational to have the right beliefs, whether it's foundational to have the right behaviors, whether it's foundational to work on your highest, most critical things first instead of the trivial many things that people get sucked into. There are certain things that when we do those and we repeat them, it makes everything else easier. So just before our call, I was working with one of my private clients, a very successful businessman in Guatemala. And we were talking about his daily rituals, right? And I was sharing with him my daily rituals, start off every single day the same way. I don't care where I am in the world. I just got back from a 3-week vacation, and even on vacation, my daily rituals are the same. And people ask me, like, even on vacation? I said, especially on vacation, because the daily rituals set up and reinforce my foundation for thinking, for feeling, for being productive or not productive, if that's what I'm choosing to do. What I've discovered is very few people have rituals that they stick to that are based on their highest values and productivity to achieve their goals and dreams. And so I'd like to start off with making sure that people have the foundational rituals that help them achieve their goals and keep them focused on what it is that they want to achieve, including time off and vacations, versus whatever may come my way, right? What's your ritual with your cell phone? Are you controlling it, or is it controlling you? What's your ritual with social media? What's your ritual, with your computer? What's your ritual with your husband or wife or children or family or your health and exercise and nutrition? right? Are they constructive rituals or destructive? Are they controlled or are they frivolous? So most people don't invest enough time on creating success structures. And if you don't have a success structure, then by default, you have one that's not going to help you achieve your goals and dreams. So I like to think about, success structures for health, wealth, relationships, career, business, finance, charity, etc.
Yeah, so important to set up all these things in our life and develop the habit, even though sometimes it's hard to start off, but then the rewards come later. Well, I just want to thank you so much, John, for sharing all that amazing information. As I said, I've been following you and using all your strategies for many years now, and they really work for me. So that's why I wanted to invite you on to share. I want to just let everyone know we'll have all John's website, and I really recommend you follow his Facebook page. He does lives all the time and gives out great strategies on there. And he's also has a course called the 7-Day Millionaire Mindset, which we have at a special price. So if you click on the link, you can try that. And we also have a link to his book, Innercise, which has lots of great information in as well. So thank you so much, John, for coming on and sharing today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And you have an amazing day. Appreciate you very much.
Great. Thank you. Great. Okay, that's good.
Awesome. How are you going to be using this? Is this
Yeah, so I do a lot of work with mindfulness and social emotional learning, and so I run different summits online, speaking to different types of experts. So this one is on neuroscience, and so we have different speakers, and it goes live, not really live, but recorded live the 31st of August to September 4th. So you'll be on the day where we're talking about adults mindset, and yeah, we have quite a big international audience now, so yeah, people are quite interested in the neuroscience especially. So
what did you get a PhD in?
I looked at how mindfulness affects preschoolers' well-being in Hong Kong. Yeah, so yeah, I would love to work with you on a kids program. I have lots of different online things I'm doing with different people with online strategies. I think what you said about the breathing, I mean, we do all kinds of fun breaths with the 3- and 4-year-olds, and it's like kids need to know this stuff. So yeah. Anyway,
with us adults, we have to change our mind. With them, we just have to help them make theirs up.
Exactly. I mean, it's like, why aren't we doing this in schools, right? So yeah.
My goal down the road, I've just started hiring a pretty outstanding senior team to be able to take what we do worldwide. So.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll get lots of people joining from. We have lots in Asia. I work a lot in Asia, so I lived over there for many, many years, and have quite a big audience. And yeah, and I'll see you tomorrow in the business group, and look forward.
I'll be back in my home studio.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you
All right.
so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks, John.
Bye.
Bye.